Today has a potential to be very, very nasty. The question is, are you going to live in fear? Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Of course, thank you very much for watching and listening and shooting a thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever, and hitting subscribe. Truly appreciate that on my end, and so does the next person that's trying to find the video. This is probably going to be a rather short video, but as a reminder, if you're on Patreon or in the coffee club, please check the community section here about 30 or 40 minutes after this video ends because we're having an exclusive live stream. We do every week, usually on Friday, called the after party. Anyway, today is the day. I've had countless messages from y'all Beaverines, and I appreciate those. Raven P comes to mind. Thank you very much. But there have been countless others. And, people have sent over articles and everything. Hey, it's been posted on our Facebook as well. Hamas has called for global violence today. Basically, an attack on anything that doesn't fit with their ideology, because this is what they do. Um, this is already beginning to happen as I film this. It's late Thursday night. As I film this, it's already starting to happen. There have been a few incidents. There was one in London out in the street. I don't think it went to violence, more of intimidation. And there was one in New York, out on the highway. A car, flag, Palestinian flag flying out, and they're just doing donuts, and they're getting revved up for today. And because again, these people, when you start getting into religion, it escalates everything. In my opinion, folks, I mean, it truly does. When you're zealous about your belief, whatever that belief is, you're willing to do a lot of things that you typically would not do. Um, and again, I've just had several people reach out wanting me to remind everybody here at Prepper Nation, it could be a very nasty day today. Now we know we don't have any way to know this for sure, but there's a potential there, as we talked about the other day. Um, and for a while I was replying and I was like, get what you need, kind of bunker in, especially if you're in a city. You folks have reached out and you've told me New York City, DC, and Chicago. These three have a huge potential to become violent, very, very fast. But and I told them get what you need, bunker in. But I've had the better part of a day now to kind of think about this, to let this marinate inside the old brain of mine. Um, and there are actually two ways that you can approach this, folks. You can, by all means, especially if you're not very physically able, you're up there in years, you don't own a firearm, you live on your own, stuff like this. Absolutely, you can stay at home. You should have what you need at this point and just stay at home and trust your preps and kind of ride out the storm, so to speak. It would be the same philosophy as if you knew a hurricane was coming and you had made that choice to just stay at home, ride out the hurricane, have everything you need in case the grid would go down long term. But there's another way that you can approach this, and again, I've had the better part of a day to think about this, and this is also a viable path. I think you can become the storm. You can. Legally, of course, because here at Prepper Nation, son, I don't advocate for anything illegal. Last time I checked, we had a Second Amendment. Last time I checked, we can legally defend ourselves in this country from immediate threat. These people use fear as a weapon. I think the prepping community has been divided all week. back and forth on, Hamas, Israel, this way, which side are you on? I think we can all agree that when you openly call for a day of violence around the world, major cities, you are leaning on fear at that point as a weapon. Yeah, fear can be a useful weapon if that's the way you want to play it out. But again, you can become the storm. You can live your life because this is still the United States of America. Again, the last time I checked, strapped to the max, of course. You want to have a firearm on you at all times. None of this, well, I'm in New York and they just won't allow us. If you have access to one, I would be carrying one tomorrow. I would rather pay a fine, to be honest with you. The likelihood that you're going to get caught anyway, very, very low. But this is the United States of America, folks. What are we doing? What are we talking about? We have a right to defend ourselves in this country. I have no idea. I don't think many of us do how this is going to play out today. If this is just an empty and a hollow threat, if they're just going to be little incidents of, maybe a beat down over here. They always target the low hanging fruit. It seems like they in mass numbers. They've got more numbers than you've got your low hanging fruit. They see you as a weak target and they target you, okay? Which is why I would absolutely encourage you to be carrying today. I mean, there ain't no doubt about that. A tactical pen, some of you have these. Great item, that's not going to fly today. You're going to need something a lot bigger than that. Um, I have no idea how this is going to play out, but worst case scenario, cities begin to fall. That's not fear porn. That's me being truthful here. Okay. Best case scenario, again, just a few incidents, just spinning, wheels in a parking lot, intimidation, curse words and things. But worst case scenario, some of our cities can begin to fall. We can see by nighttime tonight. Now we'll know by nighttime tonight if we see the National Guard and stuff rolling out, if we see riot officers everywhere. There are a few Jewish schools in, I think it was New York City. They've already made the decision to close down today. They're like, better safe than sorry. We're afraid that we're going to be targeted in our own country here in New York City. So we're just going to close today. But if you're out there and you're in a city, and some of you, I was talking about cities the other morning, and some of you said, look, you don't know my situation, son. I have no choice. I'm in a city. I can't get out right now. If cities begin to fall, let me tell you exactly what your backup plan is. All right. It's to come to rule America. Straight up. Have that as your backup plan tomorrow. If you see it's getting hot in a city, come to rule America. All right. Make sure you're wearing camo or you got a MAGA flag or something that identifies you, a military cap or something that identifies you as an honest American. As I'm filming this right now, I'm looking at the social media trends on Twitter/X, whatever it's called. And up at number one, guess what it is? It's not the day of violence that Hamas is throwing out there. It's FAFO. That's what's trending. So many Americans out there, especially in rural America, are so pissed off and locked and loaded. They're just not having it. They're expecting the worst in rural America. It's not going to fly here. You can do your little burnouts and things and try and beat grandma down in a crosswalk in the middle of Chicago, maybe. That's not going to fly here, son. It's not going to fly here. Um, I don't know. Not I'm not. I can only speak for myself. I'm not gonna live in fear in my own country. Those days are never happening here. All right. Situational awareness, sure, you absolutely need it. We talk about it a lot. If you don't know what I'm talking about and Dynamite's in the chat, tag him. Put the @ symbol Dynamite. What is situational awareness? The dude is a Rhodes Scholar when it comes to situational awareness, armed You betcha. You need to be armed tomorrow, folks. But I'm not going to ask for permission in my own country to be free. It's not happening. If everybody hides tomorrow, and again, I get there are certain situations, you're 80 years old, you're in bad health, you have an oxygen concentrator in your apartment or your home, you can't really bug out. You can't really strap up and go out into the street. I get it. Okay. There are situations where people can't. But if every single American out there decides to just lock their door tomorrow and go into hiding, guess what's going to happen? The same thing over and over and over. The fear will continue to be used as a weapon against us by those people. Enough looking the other way. We should have been way past this point. Enough looking the other way. This is our country. Again, you're either here illegally or you're here because Joe Blow flew you over here. We don't want you here in the first place. We don't want your ideology marching in New York City. You know what I'm saying? Protest all you want. You have the right. But once you become violent, counter violence is acceptable at that point. We need to be very good at counter violence should it come down to that today. It's time to try something different. Isn't it? I'm just asking y'all this morning. It's time to try something a little bit different. It's time to be a little abrasive. Maybe it's time we put a little bit of fear into these people. Because again, fear, it's a legitimate weapon, but it can be used both ways. Any weapon can be used both ways, can it not? Let's try acting like America belongs to us for a change. Not the bankers, not the weave. For those that hate it, it's the WEF. They deserve respect. No, they don't. They're a bunch of billionaire vampire clowns. The we, as I like to call them, not the globalists, not terrorists, not lobbyists, not corporate America. Us. America belongs to us. The last time that I checked, the Americans who were taught to love this country, respect the flag. That's how I was taught. Am I at fault for this? I'm old and I'm set in my ways, but is it really my fault? I started kindergarten and back then they could still paddle. And I learned very fast and through a little paddling to respect the teachers, to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, to respect the flag. I hold the military in very, very high regard. Right? I try my best to support law enforcement. Yeah, I know there are some bad apples in there, but they have a very tough job. And there are a lot of good apples in there as well. All right. This is how I was taught. And this is how I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to remain for the rest of my life, however long that is. You know, we have a say so in this country. It's not just about Joe Biden and the House Speaker. It's not just Congress and lobbyists. It's not just about Hamas blasting this on Telegram. It's not about all of that. We have a say so as well. And when we say nothing and we sit in silence, folks, that speaks volumes. Let me know in the chat and in the comments what you intend to do today. Are you bunkering in? Are you going to go out and live your life? I'd love to hear it. Y'all take care. Head on a swivel today. Strapped up. God bless.